Hello everybody. So in today's video, I'm not gonna do like the whole intro video and then like the other video where it talks about like the whole copyright law thing. Um, so this caught my attention before I went to bed, and this is something really important I want to talk about. Now, I know I mentioned that one of my videos, or maybe in like older live streams, that I would talk about getting into something like this, especially in this topic. So I guess today's the day, right? Okay. So this caught my interest because I guess there's an artist who is also a YouTube creator, I suppose. And I guess she's talking about this art piece that she made. It's a bit suggestive, so I'm just going to show that real quick. But then she compares how two artists have traced or whatever her artwork, which I will also show here, and a certain somebody's in there. And, I'm sitting there being like, you're calling out a pedophile for tracing, but let's not forget that, this person is a pedophile. There is a folder thing on YouTube about Princess Vertora, or whatever you say her name. But I will get to her in a moment. I want to talk about this whole artiste thing. As somebody who is an artist too, so, basically, the art community is toxic as a whole. Everybody likes to gatekeep poses. Everybody likes to also harass said other artists for said posing or whatnot. Here's the thing. Take it as you will. You can't claim or copyright a pose. Now, I can understand if there's heavy referencing to where it does legitimately become tracing. Then again, tracing is good for certain aspects, especially for beginners. But then there's tracing where it becomes problematic. So basically when it comes to tracing, it's like a yes and no, depending of where it's taking it, or where said artist will be taking said tracing. Now, if they're doing it to practice anatomy, whatever. I know I'm butchering words. And to learn certain aspects of like how posing works or styles or testing said style or whatnot, I think that's pretty okay to do, especially if you're asking said artist being like, hey, can I trace your artwork for practice or whatnot or whatever. And if an artist says sure, why not, go ahead. Some artists are very chill and laid back where they don't really give a shit if you do or not, whether you ask or not kind of thing. Then you have artists that do prefer if you ask, and then there's other artists who are very strict about it. Now, tracing can be a very problematic thing if people trace and make profit out of it. Now, I'm saying this as somebody who's done that before when I was in my younger stage. So, I kind of learned from that. But when people are tracing to make profit or, try to claim a style of theirs, but you know that their style changes consistently, then that will be a problem. Now, however, when it comes to seeing this picture and comparing it, the thing is, this pose is heavily so commonly used. Now, when I say heavenly, I mean that it's basically it's tossed around. It gets used by one person and then somebody else uses something similar, but it can be a different aspect or whatever that may be. The thing is, posing is recycled numerous times, especially when you also do said posing for magazines or certain productions, anything, to also help other artists reference said thing. So the thing is, can you really copyright a pose? No. But can you copyright your artwork? Yes'en. Because it's a lot of money to also copyright your artwork, especially if you're copyrighting so much of said artwork you're making. And that's a lot of money coming out of your pocket, especially, the fact that we live in a society where, like, bills need to be paid, girl. But I digress. I mean, again, some artists already, have the written work where it's already paid off. So every new artwork they make, it gets copywritten each time. But then there's other artists who, again, don't copyright their artwork, but they still have, their signature, watermark, whatever, and say what they have to say, like, hey, don't trace, copy, whatever. But the thing is, people are going to copy it, they're going to take inspiration out of it, and it's going to get reused. so many times. It has been for centuries. And when I say centuries, I mean centuries. So, honestly, as an artist myself, I'm kind of pretty chill with it. Like, if you want to if you do trace my artwork, for an example, to understand how I work or just for practice, then I'm okay with that. As long as, like, you do give credit, whether I am tagged or, you just say my name, like, hey, inspo, whatever. Or you do take inspiration off my work, but credit is needed too, it goes both ways. I'm a different type of artist. But when it comes to where there's a lot of tracing and you're selling said thing, despite of it being practice or anything, then I will say something, step in and be like, hey, I don't like that, whatever. But you have other artists who are like this, that get very, like, out of it, kind of, and kind of just blow things out of proportion, thinking, oh, well, I own this pose. You don't. Honestly, everybody uses the same pose. You're not that special. But, honestly, I think I said what I had to say, really. I mean, again, there's a difference between referencing, hard referencing, tracing, and inspiration. I mean, the definitions between those are very obvious of what they mean behind them. But again, as an artist, I just work differently. Again, there is other artists that do work differently. And some artists are like me, per se. But then there's other artists who end up like that. So, basically, now that I said what I had to say, I'm going to talk about Princess Veta. Now, Princess Veta, I made a video about excuse me, I am slurring my words. I just woke up, like, not too long ago. I made a video about her, like, about 5-6 months ago. YouTube removed that. Thanks, YouTube. There was a few other videos that have been removed by YouTube itself because I broke some form of guidelines. But, despite of that, keep doing what you will. I've made a video on Princess Veta because she has been outed as a PDF file. And she, not only does she, pretend that she's depressed, she sewer slide baits and tries to run away from what she's being outed for. She will hide behind closed doors. But if you look her up on YouTube, you will see that there has been other people who have called her out for said thing, and there's screenshot evidence, and she will sit there saying, oh, it's not me, or it was the, child's fault, all that shit. And then you're kind of just sitting there like, how is it the child's fault that you did what you did to said, you know what I mean? This is a tactic that every PDF file uses. So don't get too shocked about it. But when she gets outed, she will fake about leaving the internet. She will fake depression. She will fake, harming herself, all those kind of things. And when I saw that, I kind of went up to the person who made the said thing, and I was like, hey, I don't know if you still associate with this person or the people who have outed her, but it's not just the quote tracing you're calling her out from. She's also a PDF file. But, you tell people things, you show them evidence, you show them documented proof, and they still associate with said person. So at this point, it's a broken record. They're going to have to learn on their own. And if they don't, after they say they don't support said thing, but, actions speak louder. Again, I digress. But that's basically just my intake with the whole artiste thing. I'm not bashing the artist who made the video about the two artists, especially, a artist and a PDF file who's an artist herself, per se. But overall, I noticed that she was part of that Beware thing. And I was kind of just sitting there being like, oh, well, not only is she a, quote, art tracer, but I want others to realize and understand that this woman is outed to be and has been outed as a PDF file. But again, people choose their freaking path and, they say one thing, but yet they're doing the other. So, What can I say besides that? But again, going back to the whole artist thing, I don't think it's quote traced at all. I think it's just like inspired and there's like a lot of inspiration. However, I can see that Vertura traced the other artist on the left, but the artist claiming that both of them quote traced her. I don't see anything traced. I don't see the same body or anything, despite of like the artist, the art of said characters are a bit suggestive. But the thing is, I don't see it traced. I see it more of like inspired, since again, if it was traced, it would be layered to layer, but this looks more like between heavy referencing to inspiration. But again, as I stated before, whether that was inspiration or referenced or anything, these poses are very, very, very so used a lot. You can't copyright a pose, and this is something I'm gonna say, and if you get mad, be pressed. I don't honestly care, but you can't copyright a pose. You don't own said pose. You can't own a color, because it's part of the color wheel, excuse me, I am butchering my words still. You can't freaking copyright a design or a tattoo, any of that sort of thing. You know what I mean? As much as you're gonna get butthurt about it, and, you know, you're gonna feel, oppressed or whatnot, I'm sorry to burst your bubble, but you can't copyright this stuff. You can't. Unless to a certain degree, but when it comes to this, man, I'm sorry, but you can't. But, you know, that's just my input about it, and my 2 cents. So, I hope you enjoy this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.